What's going on, y'all? It's your boy June Archer here on the Winner Circle. This is 50.com on location with my brother, the one, the only, the Renaissance man himself, Omari Hardwick. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Thank you for having me, brother.
You good?
Good that I'm talking to you.
Listen,
I'm good now that I'm talking to you, June.
we are here on location. Photo shoot, video, getting ready to happen.
Video, construction, New York at its finest.
And this is what we love. We love the gritty.
Shout outs to Fitty.
Yo,
Did
five.
that
what's
rhyme
up?
with gritty?
Fitty and gritty. Listen, we are here. We've been listening to the album. It is
A
amazing.
little private listening party. Thank you, brother.
It came together. I remember you talking about it almost 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Rocking. Tell us a little bit about the project without giving too much.
Well, I guess that it's at the inception of the project, there was a little voice that's always a voice of logic and reason.
Right.
You can relate very well, brother. I always tell Fitty he needs one of them, but
Yeah, he has that one voice. He got that one voice. I think he strangled the other voice. I don't know.
Well, what we're talking about is the better parts, right? The old adage, your better half. So she, in my world, June is very familiar with Jay, as is the world at this point. As much as she really convinced me that power was something that was going to change my life, which it was Jay, she also said, going into the summer of third season of Power, or fourth season of Power, which would have been Ghost incarcerated season.
Okay.
2 years ago, right? We're going into season 6. She said, I believe you need to really focus. Instead of doing a summer or hiatus movie, you should make music. And I had played with it in the past. Eric Roberson, the great R&B singer from Jersey, local cat.
Shout out to Eric.
Shout outs to Ero. He really kind of introduced me on a song called Love's Withdrawal. So the world that was really open, I guess, to Omari being more than just this guy that had become known as a ghost.
Right.
Eric was probably that guy that said, the credit can go to me if you guys vibe with the other parts of him, not just the poetry side, because a lot of people knew me, as you always remind me, from Verses and Flow, but as a vocalist / poet, trying to figure out whether I should rap or just stick with poetry. Eric was the cat that kind of featured me. And in Estelle Soiree, I started writing with her. I used to be in the studio with Neo when he was living on the couch, when I was living on the couch. Dub C in LA used to rock with me. Nas always knew I was a poet. Most Def, Jill Scott. All of these people that I'm naming, Marsha Ambrosius, I can't leave her out, from Flowetry.
Yeah.
They knew that side of me. And so Eric was the first one to go, okay, well, those that don't know that side of you, here you go. And then Wifey came back and believed that I should really rock and try to hand that music in a better, more married way to music, as opposed to just being this prose, metaphor, simile, poet type guy that was rocking over beats. She was like, try music, actual, tracks from incredible producers. And I ended up getting the likes of Josiah Bell, Robert Glasper, Eric Roberson, Raphael Saadiq, Wyclef, Gobbler, a kid from Africa who's going to be out of this world once the world starts to really know, Daniel Crawford, Keon Harold. I just went crazy with it, man. Scribs, Boy Wonder, all of these incredible people that I owe money to now.
I got you. I got 5 on it.
I got
5 on it.
So that's how it started, June. And then I went crazy, man, because as complicated as Ghost was in season 4, I learned that he was progressively going to become even more complicated for those of you that are watching our present season of season 5. And so the music became salvage in a way. It became solace. It became, I don't know, it became maybe just a little shed that I could have for myself, June, and I could kind of figure out how to create within myself, for myself, and with other brilliant collaborators, from Dave East to Method Man to J. Cole, loaning me his tracks, which the world will hear soon, to Layla Hathaway, Big Daddy Kane, Melanie Fiona, Ratimi, who's brilliant, Jordan Bratton, Guapale. I got down with so many people, Tattoo, Danny, all of these new artists that the world will know too. So I really had a ball, man, learning me and learning more about what I needed in life. And I found out that I needed music all these years, June. I didn't know how much I needed music.
So I want to stop you there. Playing Ghost past season,
5 years, right?
Past 5 years in the
but
season.
This season.
how were you able, because I don't take that Renaissance man thing lightly. Did you find tapping back into your creative side and into the music and to the poetry therapeutic? Because some will say Ghost is in a dark place.
He's always
past,
in a dark
right?
place to me.
So how did you find solace in, being able to create, trying to step away from that character? Because now we're talking about mental health, because I don't know if you meditate, pray to a higher being, but how are you able to separate yourself?
June actually knows that I do pray to a higher being, but he has to generally say that because he is doing an interview. And ironically, he is a man of many talents, but most imperatively, he is a man of spirit. And if he doesn't find in a person like spirit, he ain't really rocking with you, to keep it 100. Or as 50 and I say, keeping it 500. So I do pray to a higher being. I need to meditate more. I use the sauna post-gym workout. Never the steam room as much because it carries germs. But I use the dry sauna, and I do a lot of meditating in there. Probably far too long. I probably should check on the clock a lot more. But I always figure if I can get through a song while in the sauna, then I can get through 2 or 3 more songs. Then that's about, 15 minutes of meditation.
About that, yeah.
The song is, you know what I'm saying, give or take, 12 to 15 minutes. So I do it. I probably don't step out and remind myself, June, which is very interesting that you bring it up enough while playing Ghost. I find that Curtis, being the musical legend and God that he is, that being our exec producer and my teammate as an actor, and 50, who curates the reason that we're here doing this interview. He don't only curate the reason that we're here doing this interview, he also has curated so many opportunities for me from the first season, which you don't know this, June. When 50 learned how much of a poet I was, he sent me, and it was the last time I was on a subway, because I got mobbed on the subway, and it didn't work out.
It didn't work out well.
He sent me during that magical hour where taxis are shut down or they're making airport runs, so I had to take the subway. He sent me to his publisher, who got down with him when he published Book and then other book.
Pieces to Wait.
And then, of course, 50 Laws of Power,
yep.
which he collaborated with Robert Greene, of course.
Great book. Shout out to Robert Greene.
Incredible book. So 50 was real big on the other sides to me, which I thought was so cool. And I got to give Courtney Kemp, our show creator, a shout out as well. She always said, I tend to like or gravitate towards the actors that have more to them than just that of what I've hired them to come on set to do. So if it's
more than
Rotimi,
one layer, a few layers.
If it's Naturi, a person that I didn't also shout out that I need to, that I'm remiss if I don't say, who gave me a smash hit that Anthony Hamilton is featured on, is Michael Rainey Jr., who plays Tariq.
Tariq, yeah.
He is a producer. And Anthony Hamilton, I said one day I would say this and surprise him, so I'm going to say it on this interview.
Why not?
For the first time, June.
Why not?
Anthony doesn't know this. He was soon going to find out on the shout-outs at the outro point of the album, but Anthony, that incredible song Home that you and I did, bro, in the studio that night with Mano, who's also featured on two records with me.
And Mano gets busy.
Mano gets busy. Arden on the keys gets busy as a producer who produced Tell Me, which Josiah and Major are featured on, Josiah Bell. That night that I got down with Anthony Hamilton in the studio while Jerry Wonder and Busta Rhymes came in to give their love and their support, that song with me and Anthony is produced at the time by 15-year-old Michael Rainey Jr., who plays Ghost's son, Tariq. So Courtney would be correct to say I don't really rock with actors unless they got other parts to them. Obviously, she's had to rock with actors that are just streamlined as actors, but her favorite actors of gravitas, apparently, are everybody from a Curtis to a Rotimi to a Naturi to an Omari to a Michael Rainey Jr. to a Donche Hopkins, who played Raina, the daughter I lost, who's a singer and now trying her hand at rapping. Obviously, Joseph Shakur, who plays Tommy, is a tagger. I think you know that.
Yes.
He's a graffiti artist. I think it's the proper way to say it. Sorry, Joe. Colors inside of a lot of us, and I think the permission most granted, if you were to ask that part in subjugation to your first question, I believe it was really 50, June, giving me permission to go be a poet while also manning the heavy, heavy armor of this nut of a character who's brilliant beyond repair called Ghost. I think it was 50 going, go be a poet, do that shit on the side, then fuck around and go do music. I don't give a fuck. Do you. You know, I kissed him on the cheek on Good Morning America in front of my incredibly close friend and Robin Roberts, the legend, and I would do it now if he was sitting here next to us, because as crazy and as nutty and as complex as he is, our relationship is so that of brotherhood.
Right.
Where whatever we're not getting along with or agreeing on, it's really within the cloak and dagger, I mean this, of brotherhood.
Right.
And he has always been a supporter and a promoter of everything Omari. Everything Omari. Whether people want to make me Ghost and not want to make me the nomenclature or moniker that my pops and mom named me, the reality is the man behind Ghost is but a mere Oski or Omari, whatever you want to make it.
No, that's dope. Now, for some people, we were just talking about how you make that transition, trying to take that break. You and I have a lot of conversations about mental health, right?
Break.
And
all the people losing themselves.
And all the people that lose
suicide.
themselves. For you,
Yeah, it's true,
what
bro.
words of wisdom or keys to success can you share when people are going through it, when they're figuring, listen, I can't make rent, I can't make the car note, I'm trying to figure out a job. Like, what keys to success, what piece of advice that maybe you were given to say, Omari, put this in your back pocket. It could have been 50. It could have been Jay. It could have been anybody on the street, because you can find inspiration anywhere. But
Homeless people, they used to give it to me all the time. It's funny, in the middle of him asking that question, I'm talking to our dear brother who's behind the camera. In June giving me that question, I was thinking, this is long time coming. Long time coming. June was trying to interview me for 2 years now.
yeah.
Not only is June good, these questions remind me of how his brain works and how good you are and just how conscientious you are as a brother and as a human being. But I also started immediately thinking about that which you ended the question with saying, because you can get inspiration or wisdom from anybody, a person on the street. And as soon as you said the word street, I said, well, this ain't an accident, folk. This is actually a God moment, because it was people on the streets in Los Angeles and New York. I first lived off Jerome Avenue in the Bronx. Then I was in Harlem, trying to figure myself out as a theater guy.
Sleeping in the car sometimes.
Sleeping in the car, but in LA in the car, but here riding on the train with no destination. The only destination for me was creative art and trying to figure out how to create, and thinking that some of the greatest actors were single moms with headphones on, maybe with no music underneath the headphones,
right.
But just trying to deflect attention being paid to them by a man that was maybe being overly aggressive or disrespectful. And so she got to figure out how to pay 2 bills that are way out of her price range to pay, while manning 4 to 5 kids at home. And she's a single mom, and I used to look at her and I think that's the greatest actor in the world.
Right.
Now, if they put a camera on her, she might freeze up.
Right.
But she is playing her reality and her truth
in real time.
flawlessly.
In real time.
And I would oftentimes, as an odd kid that I am, I would oftentimes go sit next to them, and I guess improving myself not to be somebody trying to get at them, I used to talk to them and just ask them what they were trying to do. And I would ask them what destination they were trying to go to.
Wow.
And sometimes I would hear people, it makes me emotional. Sometimes they'd be like, nowhere. I'm just on the fucking train. And I used to be like, wow. You got no destination, but then you would follow up the comment back to me that they had no destination. This same person will follow it up with, but I do have a destination in terms of getting home to kids that are hungry and I can't figure out how to take care of them. And ironically, I knew that they weren't trying to hit me up for nothing, because A, you could smell that I had no money. It was all over me like a stink version of cologne. But more importantly, I would say I'm just an artist who's doing a play over here, workshopping a play over here at 74th and Broadway, Beacon Theater, dreaming of a day of being on Broadway, because this is off Broadway. I don't know how much they're going to pay me. I'm workshopping it, but I think I'm going to get hired to actually do the run of the play. But I'm broke. I ain't got a destination either. Maybe we should just ride on the train together.
Wow.
And then I would go to L.A., and the Poetry Lounge became an incredible, tangible, finite destination for me, because if I couldn't pay rent, at least I could pay rent, spirit rent, June,
right,
in terms of writing them poems, man, that kept me a little bit better than a modern generation that I don't deem weaker than our generation, but what I deem is that they have too many things of access.
Yes.
So it has weakened
Yes.
their support system, if that support system is denoted that within themselves. If the support system is about other people around them, perhaps it's not weakened. But if it's about them learning while looking in the mirror how strong they can be, their support system is weakened because they have everything at their fingertips. and you find a person that does not know how to take care of themselves, you'll find a person that has been given everything to themselves.
Wow.
They can't take care of themselves if they've been given everything to themselves. The operative word is not themselves.
Right.
It's given. So for me, a lot of the advice and wisdom, June, came from people that had nothing to themselves but their name and their pride. They were broke as hell. And sometimes they had the greatest advice in the world. And then I get it from a Pauletta Washington, married to a guy that people want to liken me to, that they shouldn't liken me. They shan't. Let's make up a contraction. You shan't compare me to a Denzel Washington ever in life. Ever. June internally asked, what does that mean, oh? He is as brilliant as they come and is set in a league of his own and needs to be left there. Left there.
That lane is closed.
If Omari is whatever Omari is, let it be. If Michael Lely was whatever he was, let it be. If Idris Elba, if Michael B, if Denzel's son, who is a fucking force to be reckoned with,
monster.
Whatever it may, if Rotimi as a light-skinned yellow Nigerian becomes our, if Michael Rainey Jr., if 50 turns around and makes you forget about music enough as an actor, which is a hard thing to do, to make somebody forget about a legend who's been legendary in music for quite a while.
Yeah.
He's like our last one, Snoop and Scarface,
Yeah.
and 50. No slights to exhibit.
No.
These are incredible artists of that era.
But they
Razzcast.
Razzcast.
No slights to
no
these
slight.
people. I don't forget. Jada is a legend. Jada's in that. Jadakiss is in that. But Curtis, so for him to make you forget that he's that and go, this dude is really something else. You know, the world doesn't know that he lost 120-something pounds to play a cancer victim.
Which was amazing.
On a movie where he's a football player. They don't know that. But I do research, and I knew that before I even learned who he was as a human because we hadn't met yet when I saw that. So I just always figured that the greatest advice given I could give back, and that would be this. We are limited as brown human beings enough in life, June. We shan't, I'm going to stay with that contraction.
I like that.
We shan't continue to limit fellow brown people.
Yes.
Because the world has limited us enough every single hour. Some people go every day, oh. Every week, oh. Every month, oh.
No, oh.
Every hour, the world limits us. So the greatest advice that I have received has been from people who have nothing, but I guess they feel very large, which means that they're of something, even though they don't seem to monetarily or commercially have anything of value.
Right.
They have so much internal value that they must see something in my eyes, man, because I am but a flawed human being that is so freaking lost, but the things I'm found on, I'm very found on. I am a very, very lost person, but the things I'm found on, I'm very, very found on. So these people, I guess they see enough of that, and they go, let me give you something. And it's often been people that got absolutely nothing. I remember subway riders that were broke single moms in New York, and I remember LA homeless people. And it always was something that reminded me, advice is cool from a 35-year-old hedge funder who's done really well in life, that a Curtis has become able to hobnob with.
Right.
Advice is cool equally from Curtis, who now can hobnob with that hedge funder who's 35 and got as much money as Donald Trump. But advice is equally good from a kindergartner or the kids that you and I raised, June.
Yeah.
Not fight in front of them with our significant others.
And they're smarter than we make them out to be.
Because they're probably smarter than us.
Yes.
That book was greatly titled, All You Ever Needed to Know in Life You Learned in Kindergarten.
Yes. It's a great book.
So maybe the homeless people and those that don't have a lot of that of value, because they don't have so much access, the only people that can figure out how to take care of themselves is themselves. And I think that's the greatest thing I could give to people when you ask, oh, what would you impart upon people that are really suffering mentally? I would say take care of yourself first and foremost. If you can't figure out help mentally, and you can't afford counseling, which is expensive,
right,
and you can't even afford to get a test done, which we should start by the age of 12 to me, where we're learning whether someone is manic depressive,
right,
or bipolar. Those are actual mental issues that we can't continue as brown people, as red people, as yellow people, as white people to brush things under the carpet and go, baby, just put ice on it and pray to God about it. No, some people actually have mental disorders.
Right, that have to be addressed.
And they're killing themselves because they haven't been addressed. And so I would say to these people, if mental health is not at your reach, Physical health, perhaps,
Physical health.
is at your reach. And maybe if you can exert enough energy physically, even if you can't join a gym, get something out. We can always use our bodies. It's the temple that God gave us. Then maybe what happens is you actually, while sweating, literally, you end up figuratively sweating some things out. And at least even if you're mentally of disorder, you can make it maybe through the next week. All we want to do in life
Just
make it to the next. That's all we really want to do. Nobody should act like they're better than you and have all the next figured out. Because we don't. Everybody's still trying to figure out. Here's a secret. Ghost or Omari or whomever you guys want to make me, if you're 30 and under, if you're 35 and under, I'm still older than you. My greatest advice I can give you is Omari is as flawed, if not more flawed, than all of you who watch my character on Sunday night. I am every single week just trying to kick my little pebble to the next week and trying to not make it go out of bounds. I'm trying to kick that motherfucker straight as hell and make it to the next week. That's it. And get Jay to the next week and get Nova to the next week and get Brave to the next week. And a bunch of friends and family that I was birthed into before the family that I myself birthed. I'm just trying to get us all to the next week. And the hate and the social media, I would say to those with mental issues, the greatest enemy in the world is the devil acting like he never existed.
Yes.
Not the devil acting like he never existed. The devil finds spirit in social media platforms equally. Trust that. Be careful with that shit. If you're going to be on it, be of productivity, not of hate. It's played out. Hate is dead. That shit is dead.
That was amazing. And I hope that people take something from that because we're losing people at a record high right now. And we need not.
I can't. It's hurting me, bro. It hurts my heart.
But a lot of people don't know you were an athlete, went to Georgia, played football. How did you see yourself from being in the arts, playing football? Because there's some tenacity there.
Oh, man.
There's some willpower there.
Oh, man.
But from going from being homeless to having a one-man play, that doesn't happen for everybody on just any particular day. But for you, how did it feel being on stage? I remember the excitement that you told me about it, and I'm like, this is amazing. Everybody can't do that. But to go from walking the streets, subway, not taking showers, sleeping in the car, forget about power. Forget about power.
No, I used to sleep in the YMCA, June. There was a person at the Y that used to let me sleep in the YMCA. I remember when I went through the Trayvon, Freddie Gray, Mike Brown type thing, but no trigger was pulled. And it almost became more in vogue for the trigger to be pulled, right? It wasn't in fashion yet for the trigger to be pulled when I was Trayvon's age.
Right.
But there was 7 triggers on me at that point. And I remember thinking, it was a Chinese cop in Los Angeles that came in with a flashlight. He was the chief. And I fit the description of a murder suspect on Vermont and Normandy. I'll never forget. I'm specifying literally the streets. And I remember, June, the Chinese, the Asian cop said, he's about 6 shades lighter than the suspect. Lift him up.
Wow.
But it was black cops equally with their knees in my neck. And it was the Asian cop who said, guys, lift him up. And I remember, to answer your question, June, I remember thinking, I have a really bad temper in life that I've had to work on, right? Everybody has something that they have to work on consistently. And you know, June, my mom used to say, Omari, do your 10 count. And it literally be, you know, and I guess you would say, or June would say, that's the early version of your mom trying to give you meditative practices, you know. And
correct.
You know, 1, 2, 3, or I would go 10, 9, 8, whatever, you know, Omari. Now, maybe she could have just tackled me with a hug, and that would have worked. You know, she wasn't really the affectionate parent. Ironically, my father was, so it's probably why I'm so comfortable with men. But she was a great mom. She was a special lady, and she would say, Omari. And I think, June, what happened was all the years of being a ferocity and being paid for it, right, quote unquote, because at the collegiate level, I wasn't. Now, were there athletes that were paid? Sure. But I also thought all of us should have been paid. Right. We're the reason that buildings are erected for people to go study in. Whether these kids that are studying in the classes that are at a 3.8 GPA or not are aware that the building that they're studying in, that they're carrying their 3.8 GPA in, is because of our Saturday games. Notwithstanding, they are still in those buildings because of those Saturday games. So
on the backs of those athletes.
Unbelievable. Students. So particularly football, ironically.
I would say
shout outs to Kaepernick.
80%. 80% at least.
You know, and I say shout outs to Kaepernick, and parenthetically, what I mean, folks, is that is a sport where there is 100% ownership that does not look like Kaepernick, let alone people of darker shade than Kaepernick. 100%.
100.
Now, there's female ownership, which is a good thing in life. Females are still a minority, even if a white female. But 100% white ownership. Parenthetically, I repeat, shout outs to Kaepernick for trying to impart what he's attempting to impart. So if you bring that to the collegiate level, folks, not basketball, to June's point, that carries 12 people on the team. Not baseball, that carries 15 people on the team. Football, traveling squad, what, June? 65 people.
65.
On the team, 85 people. 85%, to June's point, of all colleges that you will go to in life, young people, if it is a Division 1, 2, or 3, 4-year school, most of the buildings are paid for by the football program at the school you will attend, flat out. So part of it, to your question, June, was I was never an uninformed kid. I definitely was into reading and learning more so that I wasn't left out in a room, but I was always a kid who had some level of intelligence. So that's the first thing. But then in having the temper that mama used to ask me to work on, if you get paid for the temper, even as an actor, you get paid for,
Paid for the temper.
Ghost has a temper.
Yeah.
It's not Tommy's temper,
No, it's not Tommy's temper.
but he has a temper.
Right.
As does Kanan, as does Dre, as does Michael Rainey's Tariq. We all have tempers.
Right.
As does Tasha.
As does Tasha.
But in reality, the ferocity and the aggression that I was allowed and afforded to be a part of in all 4 sports, including track that I played at the high school level, what I started to realize when those cops had those guns on me, 23 years of age, post New York in Los Angeles, 24 years of age, after getting cut from the NFL, what I realized, June, was my ferocity and aggression won't really get me out of this if this goes ugly.
There's no way out.
And so in college, to flash back, I can answer your question by going, there were moments that I thought, I don't know if I'll be able to be what Champ Bailey is able to be. Hall of Fame, soon to be inductee.
Yes.
Hines Ward, Hall of Fame, soon inductee. Terrell Davis, Hall of Fame, inductee.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, all of these. I played against Randy too when he was at Marshall. I don't know if I'm able to be that. So what's the other thing in me that's special? And that's what I always want you guys. That's why I mentor so many kids, because there's never one thing that's special. There's always one thing that makes money for the family, and then that begets other forms of money. But one thing is not enough for God. God is too special to have put one thing of special in a person.
Yes.
So I tried to look in the mirror deep and hard around the age of 21 years old before graduating in June, and I said, I don't really know if the NFL is going to work out for me. They gave me a shot, but what if it doesn't work out? And that's what led me to art. So I said, oh, maybe acting is the thing.
You found your magic.
Yeah, in those times that I had a gun to my head and, you know, in Los Angeles that scared the shit out of me, I thought, if I really got aggressive, at the time I was 200 pounds, now I'm 180, I can't really get out of this with 7 cops. They don't even have to have guns and they would still win. So I started to think about that side of me. That sweeter, gentle. My middle name's Latif. It means gentle. I had to tap into the Latif of Big O.
Latif.
Yeah.
Man, listen, what can we expect from this album?
You can expect definitely the journey that started in Decatur. A little dusty kid in the southeast parts of Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
While Tip and Jeezy and Big Boy, you know, call home SWATs, Ludacris included, southwest part of Atlanta. I grew up in Decatur, which is southeast. We call it the seat. So André 3000 from that part, Black, you know, shout outs to Black. He's from the east side. But you can expect the journey that started with a kid in Decatur that then went to a white high school and had to divert all the way back to an all-black neighborhood and deal with that for 4 years, and then went off to Furman University, transferred immediately to the University of Georgia, which felt more like home, and then after the NFL said no, tried to figure out life on those subways and talking to homeless people in Stoops in L.A. All of the different things and colors that are in me are within the story of a kid from 5 years old to the better parts of 40 years old.
Man, this album is incredible. It's dope. New movie coming out.
New movie.
Got to shout that out because, Megan Good is my home.
Megan.
Me and Megan used to
Megs,
be
what it
so
do?
cool. I think like Star Trek or maybe the T-Mobile sidekick days.
Yeah.
Tyrese
Oh, wow,
introduced me
wow.
to her, and we all were like cool.
Super cool
working
chick.
on the Tyrese album. Yo,
Super cool
Tyrese,
chick.
we gotta get back in the studio. Matter of fact,
Right?
I think,
birthday. I think his birthday around mine, right? Capricorn,
Yeah,
Tyrese.
I think we
But
gotta
Megs
get back
is,
in
Megs
there.
is a special girl who I've known since she was 16 years old. On those treks, passing homeless people on the way to the Poetry Lounge, famously on Fairfax and Melrose, Megan would be in the Poetry Lounge with all of the young starlets of Hollywood that were coming up at the time when Omari was knocking on their door trying to get in. Megan was doing her thing, you know, coming off of being the big sister of Journey Smollett on what was it, Eve's Bayou?
Yes.
That's
Wow,
That's a
that's-
young Megan Good.
Yeah, that's
I met
a
her
long
about
time
4
ago.
years after that. She was about
That's
12
dope.
in that. So we got to get down with Qasim Bashir, who's our director, Datari Turner, our producer, and Jay Ellis, who's a little brother of mine, DeJohn Talton, who worked with me with Ava DuVernay already, and this is his second time working with me. So A Boy, a Girl, a Dream comes out September 14th. Sorry to Bother You really burned up the theaters in the last 2 months. So I had a really good summer.
You had a great summer.
You know, and then the movie with Whoopi Goldberg, Tiffany Haddish, Tika Sumpter, directed by none other than Tyler Perry, will hit the theaters sometime in November. That's called Nobody's Fool. So, and then season 6 of Power starts up in a couple weeks. So I'm so blessed, so humble, bro.
Well, you just talked about producing and directing. You caught the bug. What's next for Omari?
That I want to produce. I want to give people jobs. I want to pay people back or pay it forward. Is that the right word for it, June?
I think it's reaching back and paying
And paying it forward. I want to do both of those. I really want to hire a lot of people, and you know, there was a casting director in Mary Vernew or Kim Coleman or Kim Harden or Sarah Finn. These incredible casting directors that gave Omari a shot, that Spike Lee would knock on the door of and go, "Who's the guy?" And Kim Coleman would say, I like this kid. Or Mara Brock-Akil or Salim would say, "Who's the guy?" And Robbie Reed would go, "It's Omari." Like, there's so many casting directors that have a spirit that maybe a lot of actors don't necessarily carry on, and actors
Right.
get on and go, I'm on. I use the casting director as a staircase to get on, but I want to carry the spirit of the casting director in a producer fashion and reach back and have a long memory to those, June, that matter to me. The John Davids that I whispered to him in his ear when he was trying to be a football great. I said, "You're going to end up just like me. You're going to end up acting. Don't think about your father. He's a giant. That's an ominous figure that might be intimidating.
Right.
But I dropped football for this. You're going to do the same." And he came to me one day about 3 years ago and said, "Negro, you were right." What the hell? I said, "I knew it.
I knew it. I saw it in you.
I saw it.
I
wanna
saw
reach
greatness
back
in you
and-
way
and
before you saw
Way
it.
before. He was 15 years old. He would say, "Oh, you saw greatness in my cutback, in my vision as a tailback."
No,
would go,
I saw it.
"Nah, I saw that.
I
thing.
saw it right there.
You're magical. It's not far from the tree, and it ain't just your pops. If you think about what Pauletta's gift is, she went to Juilliard. Denzel was a medical student. I was a
Crazy.
communications major. I wasn't doing no
crazy.
acting. I was trying to be a journalist. June, I wasn't thinking about acting.
No.
Denzel was a pre-med student. Look what he became. Pauletta was the gifted Juilliard pianist.
Yeah.
So I told John David, and I tell anybody that I look up to, that I literally look down to, that are young kids that want to be up under Omari, but I look up to you. Though you kids are heroes to me. I just always want to remind you, there's so much. You are as wide as this brick wall behind me in June. But you got to stay away from people who you think are telling you wisely when they go, "Nah, man, you just this section right here of the brick wall." No. Figure out the friends that are telling you absolutely. And the ones that are telling you the truth about the colors of the brick wall. Don't let them lie to you.
Exactly.
You know,
Have the right
but
people around.
Had the right people around, but that's what I want to do, man. I really want to produce and I want to write books. You know, I think people are on me about that. A lot of the fans that are awaiting the music, but equally into the prose, like watching my words on paper or looking at them on paper, I should say. Many of them have said, "Oh, I need the book, oh." You know, and then really I want Jay to be able to fly, man. She's birthed 2 kids. We lost one. She's done so good in life. I need a window of retirement, but with quotations around it where I don't actually retire.
Exactly.
But I'm allowing her the moments where she can really be aggressive in
And
the
she can
dreams.
fly.
I do.
She
Those are
can
the
fly.
things. And getting over and brave into high school safely. And I'll be good. Next 15 years for me.
It's going to be amazing. Music is a soundtrack to our life. You and I love music.
Man.
Right now, what song best describes your journey up to this point?
Woo! Still by Lionel Richie. Married to, because I'm still here, June. Sometimes I can't believe I'm still here with all I've been through.
And you woke up this morning.
Married to Unconditional Love by Tupac.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Still by Lionel Richie. Married to Unconditional Love by the late, great Tupac Amaru Shakur. And maybe Donny Hathaway is on his left singing a song for you. And Aretha is on the right singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough. I'm good. I can call it a day.
It's your boy June Archer, my brother Omari Hardwick.
Thanks,
This is 50.com, the Winner Circle.
Thanks, Fitty. I love you, Jackson 5.
Peace.